As the DEC and EPA continue to collect data from radioactive hotspots in Erie and Niagara counties, the question for a lot of people is, how did it get there? Good evening. I'm Courtney Courtwright. Scott and Mary Alice are off tonight. According to the latest update from the DEC and EPA, teams have done tests at 7 properties since Sunday. 4 people who live in the impacted areas are being offered to relocate for the time being. Officials say most of the properties screened will need no further action, but some may need more scans, as well as air and soil sampling. 2 on your sides. Nate Benson spoke to an environmental attorney tonight who says so-called fingerprinting will be the key to figuring out the cause of these hotspots. Right, Nate?
Yeah, while much of the response to the radioactive hotspots has primarily been centered around identifying what is in the ground, eventually there will be legal questions about how it got there. The DEC reports that they visited more than 1,200 properties since July 23rd, with nearly 700 property owners signing forms that will allow for additional testing.
There's no quick solution to this, and we're dealing with science here.
Steve Hawk is the public information officer for the DEC's incident management team.
While we continue to gather, we're also analyzing that data. So all of that is happening simultaneously.
Part of the fact-finding process will essentially be a forensic analysis of the radioactive material and figuring out if it's naturally occurring, or more likely, who made it.
The key to this thing for any legal action or for the agencies to try to get their money back is fingerprinting the waste to see who the generator is.
Tom Torrey is an environmental attorney, but spent nearly 2 decades as an environmental engineer. He says that so-called fingerprinting the material in Niagara County will lead to answers. In a nutshell, fingerprinting,
it's a combination of getting your hands on some key historical documents that show what different generators were doing and what they're producing and what their waste looked like, knowing the right analyses to do on the samples you collect.
Buried in the soil is a story of Niagara County's industrial past.
We have been working on the fingerprinting issue. EPA has been doing it kind of in parallel, and they've gotten some good results using some protocols we created. And at some sites, it's just our view, we think it's going to be pretty clear who the generator is.
But right now, without any testing results published, it's too early to name some of those industrial giants that could be responsible for some of the radioactive thorium slag that seems to be a concern right now.
I think it's going to be pretty darn clear whose stuff it is. And that's going to be key to any legal action, is finding who generated the stuff on a given property.
As for where all the hotspots are, the DEC still isn't saying. No data has been published, and the only way you know there could be an issue is if you got a letter from the agency. But those aerial surveys several years ago covered all of Erie and Niagara County.
What do you say to those people in the community who are still concerned about, was there radiation where I live?
We certainly understand concern. We're concerned. Everybody here is involved, is 100% focused on the mission. And part of that will be looking at the data very carefully, the scientific approach to it, and wherever it leads us is where it leads us.
So if a property owner or someone who rents hasn't gotten a letter, is it safe to say that you don't necessarily have to worry as much?
I think it's, again, a case-by-case basis.
Now, DEC officials said it will take several weeks for results to start coming in from the additional testing, but how soon they will actually publish that data still remains unanswered. On your side, Nate Benson, Channel 2 News.